Hello everyone, welcome back to another FPL video on Fantasy Football Scout. You don't usually see too many videos from us on a Sunday, but it's an important week with free hits strife in the community. There's lots of free hits active. The deadline's on Tuesday. There's still lots of info we do and don't have in regards to fixture postponements. We're going to talk about all that as we go. And going through the drafts today is Chris. How are you feeling this morning?
Yeah, I'm a little bit tired. I was out celebrating, hence my shirt, celebrating the amazing, not out. Obviously, I wasn't out, no one's going out, but I was celebrating amazing cup victory over Rotherham for my team, Everton. I was actually really enjoyed watching match today, last night. I do enjoy all the FA Cup stuff. I don't know, because I'm usually poring over the results anyway for the Premier League. So it's not as many surprises. Well, I haven't really been following all the cup games, so I quite enjoyed that. So. Yeah, not as fresh as you can see from my small eyes. Not as fresh as I'd like to be, but yeah, prepared for a full day of free hit tinkering.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone's doing right now. It was a good win for Chorley as well, we should say, in the FA Cup yesterday. I watched the Man United game. It wasn't exactly thrilling, apart from maybe the first kind of 20 minutes. But I guess a win's a win, right? And we did rest a lot of players. And a lot of players that are going to be in these drafts, I would say. So I think there's, a bit of news as well, actually. There's a few injuries from Man United, according to Solskjaer. We don't know the length of them or the extent, but we'll probably come on to that a bit later as well. Before we jump into it, I should say we are partnered with Fantasy 5. If you haven't already checked them out, there's a link in the description. It's a really great and simple game, more to the point. A bit like FPL is quite simple. This one's really simple as well. All you have to do is predict 5 players from 5 different games that are going to beat their points total. So you can see the points total on screen right now for certain players. So Bruce was 4.5, so he'd have to score 5 points or more for that prediction to come through. And it's basically based on FPL point scoring without the bonus points. So for any FPL managers everyone watching this is going to be an FPL manager, it's extremely easy to pick up. It's free, no catches or anything like that, and the winner gets 10 grand. Couldn't be any easier. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you Chris's picks for this week at the end, and I'm going to go through my picks as well. And I think I've got some pretty good ones this week, to be honest. I'm always quite confident, but this week maybe a little bit more confident than normal. So if you want to check that out, link in the description below. And then when we've been through the free hit drafts, we'll take a look at our Fantasy 5 picks, basically. Okay, let's get into the first free hit team. So this is your current live team, right? So I think we all have this. We have a current team, then we have our tinkering teams as well. So you're playing 3-5-2, which I do think will be quite popular this week. And one thing I've noticed, which we'll talk about first of all before we get into specific players, you've got a playing bench, right? So you've got Calvert-Lewin on the bench, you've got Holding, even Mitchell seems to have won his place back at this point. Yeah. So all 3 players are playing. Do you think that's important this week to have a playing bench?
I think you wouldn't have 1 or 2. I mean, based on the last couple of weeks, I mean, you kind of have to look at what's going on. I mean, I think it's important to have 1 or 2, definitely. I mean, Mitchell's just there because he's so cheap that he's a cheap filling space. So in some of my drafts, I've got sort of non-playing 3.8 defenders if I needed the extra 0.1. But yeah, I think it's important to have draft. I haven't got. I might look at. I'd see how much money I've got left. I might look at another keeper as well, just in case. Because you never know. Because I've had Nylander's not even playing anymore since the start. So I might need to look. I'll look at that because why not? It's free hit. When I get the final things sorted elsewhere, I'll get another keeper in. But I think it'd be madness not to. I guess it depends how depends on your budget. But I think just everything. All we know at the moment is everything's in flux, right? Everything can change. So yeah. If you just look at the last few weeks and people making their big scores off the bench from West Ham players, if they hadn't had playing sort of players there on the bench, it would have been a disaster. Save Mark a little bit, which is a bit annoying, but
yeah, it's been a bit of a disaster the last few weeks. I want to ask you, actually, you're an Everton fan, so you've got Calvert-Lewin on the bench. A lot of people are looking for cheap strikers. I think Wilson is probably top of the picks right now, given the fixture that he's got. Obviously, Sheffield United have not done well at all this year. But Calvert-Lewin potentially coming back into people's thoughts now because Luca Dean played in the FA Cup. I think Rodriguez is back now as well, Richarlison as well. So there's a few players rested in that Everton team who, they did win, but on another day they're going to have, in the next game in the league, they're going to have their full playing squad pretty much back. They're not missing too many players now, not too many key players. So do you think this is going to be, we're going to start to see Calvert-Lewin coming back into our thoughts a bit more now?
Yeah, I think going forward, I mean, he's been, yeah, I mean, he's kind of fluctuates with Everton. Everton had obviously a storming start to the season, then we kind of dropped the ball, which, as an Everton fan, was what I expected, to be fair. And then we sort of picked up again, and then obviously we had the performance against West Ham was pretty dire all round, and I'm not sure West Ham deserved to win it, but I don't think we did either. So I think I probably bought a 0-0 pretty fair all round, but yeah, I think with Dino makes a difference. Although the kind of four centre back alternative or playing Iwobi, as a wing back, has kind of worked all right as well. So, but I mean, Dino's delivery is different class. I think James Rodriguez getting back fit, and if he's interested, he can make a big difference. Richarlison's been a bit, he's a great player of the team. I don't know why he's not scored more goals this year, but he's. Yeah, I think it's worth considering. I mean, the thing about the Wolves game, I think the way you look at this free hit, or way I am, and I think most people are, is you look at it, obviously, each fixture and how many players you want from that fixture. And I kind of want cover from Everton Wolves, but I just can't see that being A, high scoring, or B, knowing which way it's going to go. I think, Wolves are pretty good defensively as well, but they're not scoring tons of goals equally at their ends. Everton can be quite tight defensively, but, liable to leak something, especially from a corner, from a set piece. But if we do score, Calvert-Lewin will be there. I don't see Calvert-Lewin coming out of this match with a brace or big points. But if we score, he's likely to be involved. But going forward after that, I think I think he's still in my team, in my main non-free hit team. I'm not looking to ship him out just yet.
Good stuff. Yeah, he's in my team as well, and I'm hoping this is going to be the resurgence, because I think a lot of things are kind of counting against him in the last few weeks. But yeah, I think
you were the pioneer. You were the pioneer, Andy. I even laughed at you. I laughed at you starting with, "What is this Calvert-Lewin?" Sort of James Rodriguez. You were going right from the start. You don't need. You were the kind of pioneer, the trailblazer in this one, and you picked that absolutely right at the start of the season.
But now he hasn't scored since game week 11, so I think it would be a nice time for him to start scoring again. Otherwise, it starts to look like a bad pick. In terms of kind of nailed on players that are going to make every single draft, no matter how many times you tinker with it, which players do you think are just nailed on, and whichever way, unless obviously the fixtures are called off, are definitely going to be in this squad?
I think his City triple up is inevitable. I know Gundogan's going to probably raise some eyebrows, but I've got De Bruyne's 100% in there, Cancelo 100% in there, and then another City player. I really, in my early drafts, I had Aguero. I thought, it would be romantic, just a bit of you come back, but I just don't seem to get enough minutes. Really, that's the problem at the moment. So I think they're in. Fernandes is just a fixture always. He's going to be, whatever. If he's playing, he's in, right? I think for me, Wilson's a fixture. I think if you're ever going to put back in, Newcastle forward lines against Sheffield United, right? So I know that they kind of they won in the cup, but still, I see that's a chance for Newcastle to get a couple of goals there. And I do think now I think Lacazette's probably a fixture. I don't know if I can pull him out now. I'm denied, but I think again, if you're going to, Arsenal are in form, and if you're going to back a team, it's the only chance I'm likely to get of them in. Against Palace are very fragile, so I think they're fixtures. Son is a fixture if the match is on, right? Grealish, I don't know. Grealish, I'm a bit more. I don't know. I know he's a player that should be in, but there are other options there that I might kind of, I need to change to upgrade to. So I'd say, De Bruyne, Cancelo, another City. So that's not a fixture, I guess. Wilson and Lacazette up front, I'm pretty fixed with that. And then and Son if he plays. And Fernandes, sorry, around that it's tinkering. I've had different variations around that.
One thing to mention with the Sheffield United game, yes, they did win, but they also still conceded 2 goals. So I don't think, and I got one of my best mates is a Bristol Rovers fan, and pretty much any time in the WhatsApp, it's him complaining about how bad they are. So it's good that Sheffield United got a win, but I wouldn't expect too many things to change in the league. So I really like the Callum Wilson pick. I think he'll be in a lot of teams. Gundogan, let's talk about him. So I actually. Well, I actually tweeted about him saying I feel like he's a player that everyone will talk about. They won't actually put in their teams. And then I looked a little bit into it. I think he's had more big chances than Sterling and De Bruyne over the last 4 game weeks. And we saw in the last game, I can't remember which one it was now. I think it was, obviously the cup game against Man United, the EFL Cup, and he was getting forward quite a bit. Like he's not playing in like some kind of central defensive midfielder role or deep lying midfielder role. He's getting into the box. So, do you think genuinely he's an option this week as a one-off punt?
I think he's in amongst the goals. I think there's two lines of thought. One, he's been in amongst the goals, even amongst the points, and obviously we know if City bang, then as to quote Gianni, if City really go for it, then the goals can come from all across the place. That's kind of always the challenge, really, isn't it? But I think he's as likely to be involved as anyone, unless Pep changes up markedly and brings in, Jesus or Aguero and just changes the shape a lot, which I don't know. I'm not sure. I think if Jesus is fit, he'll probably be back in. But I'm not sure about. I think Aguero is still using him very sparingly at the moment, and I think he'll think this is a match he can win comfortably. So I think he's a good option. He's in amongst the points. He's as good as any of the kind of secondary tier ones. I'm not as convinced by Sterling as a lot of people as well. So I'm not. I kind of like him. He's in one of my other drafts, but I don't see him as absolute essential, especially if I'm going captain KDB, which it looks like I probably am going to. So he's also differential. You see, I think he isn't going to be like you say. I think you want to get as many points as possible, but you also want to try and be gaining points and others. And I think he's if you've owned in the last few weeks, he would have been that. And you pick players that are in form, right? So. So I think that's one. I'm pretty I looked at Mahrez, and Mahrez again is if he's going to play, he's that character that can come in and get a 15-20 point haul, and then do nothing for 3 weeks, and so it's possible I'll make some last minute change. It's possible I'll move go back to Sterling just to cover, but I think I'm at a part of the season where I'm trying to mix covering with putting some differentials in. I think a free hit is surely the prime time to try and be a little bit maverick, or try something a little bit different. Picks, So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you do a free hit, you also got to think about what people who aren't free hitting, what teams they will have, and almost certainly if you're not free hitting, you'll have double City defence rather than double attack. So if you're ever going to go double attack, it's against Brighton, who. I mean, defensively, their numbers, you go and check the Fantasy Football Scout members area, Brighton's defensive numbers are actually quite good, but you look at the league table, it's not going right. They've always got a chance of conceding, and obviously they're playing Man City, who are great against Chelsea, and Brighton aren't going to sit back, I don't think. They're going to come out and play, which is going to play in City's hands. So I think this is the time to take a punt. I originally, when I started putting free hit drafts together, did have Sterling, who you mentioned, but he's just not been on it this year at all. Like he's got 9 attacking returns, which isn't bad, but only 4 of them are goals, and he's only missed 2 games out of all the City matches. So
he's not been. That's not. He's obviously still a great player, and the formation's changed. It's who's he had De Bruyne up front of the week. You just don't know where he's going to be playing, right? So I think Gundogan's going to play as well, which is obviously always thing with. Well, I think anyway. It is difficult with Pep Roulette. I mean, De Bruyne is going to play. Looks like Cancelo is pretty nailed as much as he can be. But yeah, I think Gundogan's sort of in that lineup, whereas players like Mahrez, you're not sure he's going to get the start or not. Yeah.
Yeah, he started the last 4 Gundogan. I think even if Jesus or Aguero were back, I think he probably would still play. I think the Aguero thing, I think many years ago on the Scoutcast, I called Aguero a nostalgia pick, and he went on to absolutely smash it for the rest of the season. But right now, there's just not enough. He'd have to play. I don't think they've played their FA Cup game yet. He'd have to play 45 to 60 minutes for me to even consider it. Yeah. And there's obviously something bigger going on there because Pep would have used him by now. He's even said once he's back, he'll be in the team, and he hasn't been back. So there's obviously something still not quite right there where they just haven't used him. And they've been doing fine as well. So yeah, I quite like the Gundogan pick. Let's just quickly talk about the defence. So Tierney's in there. He's in a lot of teams. And he is looking quite good right now, I have to admit.
Yeah, got another assist yesterday.
Another one, against who were they playing? Oh, they were playing Newcastle, of course. And you've got Clark in there as well. What do you like about him?
I basically, this is for the thinking behind this is mass coverage, right? Why I never really like being double defence in any particular team because it just takes one lapse of concentration from a corner or whatever, and suddenly your whole, all the points are gone. And I think Sheffield United, they did score the other day, but they've not exactly been free flowing goal scoring. And and I think I think Newcastle will get a result there. I think it'll probably be a terrible game, but so I think if you're ever going to pick a Newcastle defender, this is surely the time to do it. Sheffield United are really struggling. They've not got anybody, is looking. When McGoldrick's your kind of danger man, you're kind of in trouble a little bit, I think. So it's just about that thinking is more about spreading out the clean sheet potential, really. I just think, you've just getting to as many of those matches where I think there's a clean sheet possibility as possible. So I think I'm confident about. I think Arsenal, the way Arsenal are playing at the moment, they seem to have good spirit and everything, and Palace, the sort of team that can totally capitulate, and aren't again that necessarily that dangerous. Although Zaha could turn it on one day, but I think so I'm confident of that. But equally, if I have double City, or I guess double City is where most people would go. But then I want City in the middle. I don't know. I've got United obviously coverage with De Gea as well, so I'm covering 4 games there. That's kind of the thinking of it, really.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's look at the non-Spurs Villa lineup. So this is the third one I think you sent me. So this is the one where you've not confirmed the transfers yet. So obviously we don't know if that game's going to be on. I think given that they had to play so many under 23s. It feels likely that it will get called off, but whether or not we find that out before Game Week 18 deadline, I don't know. It could be after the deadline that we actually find out. I guess. Quick question before we talk about the team: if we don't know for definite the game is off, right? As in, we think it will be, but we don't know. It hasn't been confirmed by the Premier League or by the clubs.
Yeah.
Will you hedge your bets and put 1 or 2 in, or will you just ignore it completely?
I think if it's, obviously Villa played against Liverpool, so I was surprised by that. I guess the FA Cup, there's other things going on. It's very, they might have had to do a bye almost if they didn't play. So obviously it was a youth team and everything, but they put a team out. So that suggests that they'll probably find a way to put a team out against Spurs. That's almost the problem, really. Is like if Villa put out a really weakened team, then I'll want double Spurs attack. I think I'll probably depend on price. I might, if I don't know it's definitely off, then I'll probably keep Son in. I might replace Grealish. I'll probably keep one just so I've got something interesting in that game. I might not have Grealish as well. I'll probably replace Grealish. So I might keep one in just in case, because Son, if there's goals, Son's going to be involved. He might not get as many points as Kane, but he's likely to be involved in it. So that's probably what I'll do. There just to keep an interest in it, and then again it goes back to having the bench someone that's half decent. So if I've got a lineup that's got DCL that could come on, I'd be that wouldn't be a disastrous pick or an Arsenal defender or something like that. I think I'd be I think I'll do that. I think that's probably what I'm going to do at the moment.
Yeah, and play if you've only got.
I don't think it will get called off I don't think I'll get called off in loads of notice, right? None of these matches have been cancelled with vast amounts of notice, right? So I don't see why that would change now, unless it was so clear it was off. So I imagine, because there's no fans traveling and all that sort of stuff. So I think it will probably be a morning of the game type decision, right? So
yeah, they want to try and get as many games played as possible. So they're going to do everything they can. I don't think the Villa training ground's even reopened yet, which I think is. Probably. I think it's not a great look at all, and I did have to get a lot of negative tests. I think it was like 10 players or something crazy like that, or 10 players and staff. So it's a lot that tested positive. So
the thing I don't know is how because it seems to vary. How long is it then before players can? I thought it was like at least sort of a week, maybe 10 days, or it was a week at least that those players couldn't then tested positive. I mean, I must admit my knowledge of the specifics of how this is managed is not as good as I thought it was, because players seem to be coming back quicker. Maybe I guess if you get a negative test, does that mean it's all fine and you just come back in? I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't know when they're allowed to have that test to prove that they're negative. So we'll have to just wait for more news. Obviously, we'll have it on Fantasy Football Scout Twitter and stuff, and on the site if we get any news. But let's just talk about there's not too many differences to start off with. So Lacazette, Wilson still up front. Tierney, Cancelo, Clark. You have got double defence in this one though. Currently, which is double Newcastle, Darlow and Clark.
I might. That might be edited. That might be that was again. It was before. I might end up tweaking that around to find a way of getting. I'll probably try and go back to De Gea De Gea pick somewhere or other. So I'll probably find a way to that. But yeah, I think I had Darlow in when I started doing it early on, and I've just kind of probably left that in. Yeah, I think the difference is mainly Rashford. I would like another bit of United's cover. I don't really trust Martial's just consistency. So I think Rashford's a decent pick. I quite like the way McTominay's involved in everything and costs virtually nothing at the moment. I guess that's, but
and scored again last night as well. Scored the
yeah, he did exactly. So I mean, he seems to be like when players on a run. That's you've got his form of his form and fixtures. It's kind of you've got to go for it. But whether he's the player that's going to be bringing in capable of scoring 2 or 3 goals is a different thing. But I think that pick I've got Rashford in. I think he's a good pick. He's a good option. I've got Saka in, who again is I've got Grealish and Son. I think Saka's from Arsenal from the value as well. He's every chance of being involved in stuff. And I've brought Sterling in, despite what I've been saying about Sterling before, into this as well, because make the most of the fact I've got rid of. I think this was when I first did this might have been a switch from having Son and Kane and Grealish. So and McGoldrick, of course. So just he probably won't play, be a bench option, but he's been involved in. I think he's been involved in until the cup, like all of Sheffield United's goals. I think it was like either assist or scorer, or something crazy like that. And he did get involved in he did score the other day, but not in all of the goals.
That's potentially your cash cow for getting De Gea as well. McGoldrick down to Davis or
Brewster. It's Davis or Brewster. Yeah, can I just? Brewster has been like you have all these kind of these surprise players coming through, and I was really hoping Brewster would be like an option, but it's just been such a kind of such a sort of a limp. So I don't know, just such a pop balloon, whatever. I don't know. Just everybody's like, oh, Brewster's a great option. You got 4 million potentially playing forward. He's just not really done anything. He hasn't scored, has he? I don't think he's scored.
No, he's never scored in the Premier League. So I guess it's in some ways it's not it's not that surprising. I guess Liverpool have just done some good business there. So good for them. Not necessarily so good for him. And he hasn't exactly gone to the club that's going to create him a lot of chances either.
No.
So maybe it was a bad move. And they've got like 6 strikers. So it's a bit of a weird situation. They've got lots of strikers, but none of them can really get enough goals for them. So who knows? Don't ever discount McGoldrick. You never know. He might come off your bench for one of those players and
come off with his hat trick of no, probably not. But no, against Newcastle again, it's possible, right? Newcastle on I'm sure Sheffield United, as much as Newcastle will be thinking this is a good 3 points, I'm sure Sheffield United this is a chance. I haven't gone as wild as bring Andy Carroll into my calculator. He did look quite dangerous in the cup match. He was kind of a little bit unlucky not to get a goal. Actually,
well, we have to monitor that situation because Wilson wasn't in the squad at all, which was a bit of a surprise. So we'll have to monitor just see if he's potentially got an injury. Or anything like that, but right now I haven't seen anything. So not too many. I'll just bring out the first team again. So this is the team if we haven't if Spurs versus Villa is on, and then if it's not, this is so obviously like I said, it's just a few changes. Son and Grealish out, Sterling and Rashford in, which there's an argument probably to be made to have them anyway. So I think both the teams look pretty good. And
have you gone with sort of Rashford?
I've not hit the button. I still haven't decided what the hell I'm doing.
You're not even going to chip it. You're not going to chip it necessarily.
Well, I may do. We probably shouldn't get into it on this video just because my situation's a bit. It'll take another 20 minutes just for me to explain what's going on in my head.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just interested.
I probably will go Rashford and Fernandes. I think even if Villa's on, I think I will use that opportunity to go against Spurs because I think Villa's a tough game. And a lot of people have Spurs on a free hit. Maybe I'll go a little bit different, but I don't know if I'm going to hit the button. I will definitely have triple United though and triple City.
But free hit, this is for generally, but free hit, it is the de facto move, right? I'm not saying it's always the absolute smartest or it's the only move, but that's surely going to be, from what I'm seeing elsewhere, that is the de facto move this week.
I think it depends on your team. I can put out, for example, 9 players.
Okay.
without using the chip. But if Villa and Spurs is off, then I've only got 5 players. So it's
Right.
a big thing for me. This is what and I might even wildcard, but honestly, that's a whole
Oh, right. Okay. Let's start
that's a
the wild
whole
card.
different
Yeah,
discussion.
I
Yeah.
looked at that as well, but it's too. I'm actually looking at. I've got in fan team, which is not a game for me, but I've got my wild card I've not used. I've got to use it this week or next week for the first half. So I was thinking I might wild card there. They don't have things like free hits in that game, but I might use the wild card. Trying to work out how you get a great team for this that you also want for the double is the challenge, right? It doesn't seem to. I mean, it's getting easier with the extra game added in, but it's not. I can't quite seem to do it yet. But yeah.
Yeah, free hit does seem the de facto move, like you said. Though a lot of people are doing it, and I think this game it was earmarked a long time ago. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what final teams people end up with. But yeah, let us know in the comments below how your team is looking right now. Who's nailed on? Who's up for debate? And we'll end on the Fantasy 5 picks. So I've brought up the screen here. So this is the website. Like I said, it's super simple and a lot of money up for grabs. So you just got to make 5 picks from 5 different teams. So I'm going to do my picks, and I'll show you Chris's picks afterwards. So we've actually mentioned a few of the players that I'm going to put in. So I do think there is a good chance that one of these teams, Sheffield United or Newcastle, gets a clean sheet. And I'm obviously not backing Sheffield United just because we've mentioned what their goal scoring capabilities have been like recently. So I'm actually putting Kieran Clark in. So he's been playing recently. I'm going to have to wait and see what other players may come back because Lascelles is not far from being back, I think.
Yeah.
But I think Clark will probably play anyway. So he only needs 5.5 points. So if he gets a clean sheet, that's it. Happy days. So I think that's probably locked in. I did look at Callum Wilson as well, but he would need 2 attacking returns, which is not impossible.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So Kieran Clark in for me. Wolves versus Everton. So I was looking at Calvert-Lewin, and then it seems obvious to me that you go Richarlison. He only needs 1 goal, 5.5 points, so 1 goal does it for him, and he's on penalties as well. The only player that I've considered instead is where is he? Luca Dean, because he's back from injury now, and he only needs 5.5 points. So a clean sheet or 1 attacking return, he's pretty much there. The only worry I have is Everton have not been great at keeping clean sheets this year. Although they have done more so recently with their kind of 4 centre back setup, but I think it has to be Richarlison, right? I think you've gone for him too.
Holgate, if Holgate was playing, because he's scored a few goals, he's been up and a few assists and stuff. But
I always like it when there's a striker that only needs 1 goal. I just think that's such a good pick. So Richarlison's in for me. Man United. So interestingly, we didn't really touch on it during the video, but it's come out after the game that Pogba, Lindelof and Shaw are apparently all carrying an injury. Now, apart from that, we don't know how long it is or how long they might be out for. But I was looking at the defender list for Man United, and they all need 6.5 points or more, apart from Tellez, who only needs a clean sheet or maybe an attacking return. So if Shaw is out, I'm going Tellez, and it's worth saying once you submit your picks, you can change them afterwards before the deadline. So yeah, I'm going for Tellez. Clean sheet against Burnley. That's got to be on, surely.
Yeah, good pick.
Yeah. And then Man City a little bit tougher because I don't know what to make of the game, whether to go for an attacker or a defender. But I'm backing someone who's in your team and is definitely going to be in my team, who's Cancelo. 6.5. So he's bound. He has to get an attacking return soon. I don't know how he hasn't got one yet. He's like basically stood outside the 18-yard box. It's ridiculous.
I know that's the weird thing. Everyone's been banging on about his great stats and how he's got, but he's not actually done it. That's the thing, right? He's looked inevitable, but he's not actually delivered. So it's
coming this week. It's coming this week. So one attacker return, 1 clean sheet, and he's in. And then lastly for Arsenal, I've actually gone for Lacazette. He would need 2 goals, but I think against Crystal Palace, who only kept 1 clean sheet, that's possible. So that is my team: Clark, Richarlison, Tellez, Cancelo, Lacazette. Easy as that. I can confirm that, and then hopefully win 10 grand.
10 grand richer. Fantastic.
Yeah, easy as that. I'll put your picks quickly because I chose my picks before I looked at yours. They're quite similar for the first 2. So you've got Clark and Richarlison as well. Yeah. Then you've got Rashford. So you're backing an attacker in that game.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have Tellez on my list, but I didn't know he'd start, so I hadn't heard the Shaw news. So that might be something I'll look at. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Gundogan, who we've just talked about a lot as well. So, yeah, another nice pick. 7.5 points, you don't need a goal, maybe an assist there as well. And then Smith Rowe at Arsenal, very popular in the community right now, doing really
Yeah,
well.
well, he's looked very sharp in the cup match. He seems to be in favour. And again, he was the kind of midfielder that just needs. If you got a goal and a clean sheet, then he's there, right? So that was the kind of thinking, and it's that 8 point, anything under that 8 point limit, it needs one goal. Aubameyang's too expensive. Lacazette was quite a little bit too expensive as well. I did always think about Mitchell at Palace because he just needs a clean sheet, and it's entirely possible that's a 0-0 game. But yeah, I like this. I like fantasy because it kind of it's a lot less pressure as well. You can have a little use all the knowledge from fantasy FPL, and then you can just kind of obviously you want to win the money, but you don't have the stress. The stress afterwards when you sort of oh god no.
Well, that's the beauty of it. You've already thought about all this for your FPL team, so you only have to bring your knowledge across. It's not like you have to then rethink it all because the scoring is basically the same. So, yeah, that's the beauty of it. It's so easy to just make your picks once you've thought about your FPL team.
I have one FPL question for you, Andy. It's something I'm pushing. No, but so right now we're seeing a lot of player price drops. And how much of that is free hit and how much of that is general? Because there's a lot of players, like including people like McCarthy at Southampton. There's a lot of DCL. There's loads and loads. I've been looking at the player price. There's been a lot of it's only -1 and that's fine. But there's been an awful lot of movement.
Yeah, I think we've never. This info we don't know how the price changes work, right? The info has never been given publicly, but as far as I'm aware, and I think this is what like price change sites have kind of tried to work out, is that free hits don't affect it. So if people are taking out players because they're free hitting, they don't affect the transfers. But there are obviously people making transfers who aren't free hitting. So Salah, for example, was dropped. I've actually before I've hit any buttons, I've actually taken Salah out of my team. Wow. Yeah, he's gone down in price. So yeah, I don't think it's affecting it too much. This always happens. Same at the start of the season when there's lots of wild cards being used. They don't affect it. We don't think they affect it either, but we don't know for sure. So
yeah, no one knows that absolutely for sure. But I mean, the FPL statistics site for whatever it seems to be pretty. That's when everybody seems to use.
Yeah, that's what I use. Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. All right. That's good. Sorry, I should probably known that, but I was just looking at it because that's the problem. That's only is the problem with the free hit. You kind of then that does lock you out of any other transfer activity.
Yeah, and obviously if you've got any players in your team that are dropping in price, you can't stop it either. You will lose that value.
And then you've got the double in really, which probably should be the bigger focus. I mean, that's the interesting thing about this. It makes sense to come next to each other, right? But it's kind of that balance. It's I initially was on a strategy to go to bench boost. In the double, that's pretty destroyed in all honesty now by recent injuries and stuff. Everybody I bring in seems to pick up a knock as soon as I bring them in. So I'll probably put out 11, but I'll probably end up taking hits next week. I know that's a different video, but
yeah. Well, that's the only good thing is for all the fixture postponements that are affecting our teams. It does mean we'll have plenty of double game weeks to play with later on. So it might seem like a disaster now, but it won't be. It won't be further forward, but we will leave that one there because this is free hit central, and next week we'll start talking about bench boost, triple captains, and
press the button, Andy. Come on, join the clan. You're not going to use the button. You're not going to use it anywhere else. Go on.
I think honestly, we won't get into it. But I think I'm more likely to wildcard, but we'll see. I need to have a play around before Tuesday. But yeah, Chris, thank you very much for joining me. And if you want to check out Fantasy 5, like I said, really simple game. If you've got FPL knowledge, which you all have if you're watching this, really easy to pick up, make your picks. There's a link in the description below. Give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Hit subscribe if you're new around here, and we will catch you tomorrow for the Scoutcast.